What's going on, Workforce? Brian here, and today we're talking about Geforce Now versus Google Stadia. Geforce Now is another competing cloud service along with xCloud, ShadowPC, and more. But there's a clear, I think, winner when it comes down to these two services, and it's going to be interesting to see how competition heats up. If you guys are new to the channel or you haven't been here a while, I've been using cloud gaming since June of this last year. It really works. But there's obviously various technological issues and networking issues that still persist depending on where you live in this world. And that's where Geforce Now comes in really strong with a free option. Now, Google Stadia is supposed to do that later. We're going to talk about pricing here in just a minute, but I think that's the most important thing. And the other side of this coin, when everybody's looking at Google Stadia and concerned about it, rightfully so, no judgment here, where they're concerned about it is in the term of ownership. And that's where our first comparison comes into play, and it's really a strong one in the games. I'm firing up GeForce, and I'm just amazed by the number of games that they have in their library already. So I've been able to get some configurations done, been playing Destiny 2, as you can see. I've been setting up other games that I haven't had installed in a while because as a content creator, I'm normally running up against hard drive space issues. That's kind of one of the bigger appeals from the cloud gaming for me, is that I can offload the processing of the game, I can offload the hard drive space of the game, so whether I'm capturing footage or I'm just streaming the game, it's relatively low impact on my local PC, which for me extends the life of the computer. But beyond that, as a laptop user, I can play in multiple rooms of my house with no problem. And that's really the strength of this. That's what really sold me on the future of cloud gaming, is when I was playing Gears 5 and literally able to go and run the game in ultra settings and not have it impact my computer. Now, Gears 5 is not a part of Geforce Now. Gears 5 is not a part of Google Stadia, but we'll be talking about xCloud hopefully here soon. It looks like that is continuing to improve, and I can't wait to share more information with you about that in the future. But when it comes down to the games right now, Geforce Now is a clear winner. If you've got Steam, if you've got Origin, if you've got these games, go check it out. Check out the free trial. Download the app and see if your games are available and try it out for yourself. That's going to be the literal easiest and cheapest way in. But I also want to be clear right now with you, this is a non-sponsored post. I went and signed up for the Premier Edition, for the Founders Edition for Geforce Now, so I could come to you and tell you guys about it because I was curious. Because cloud gaming works, Geforce Now is no exception to that rule. And this is where I guess it's eking out in Stadia, really kind of putting a little egg or pie in the face of Stadia right now. It's coming in at $5 a month for the introductory rate for a year. Now you're going to get 90 days to be able to cancel that as well. And honestly, this really makes Stadia look like a product that is not ready. Now, I think the best thing about all of this is, again, competition. If you have a strong GeForce, if you have a strong xCloud, if you have a strong Google, if you have a strong PlayStation Now, it's going to be interesting to see if they kind of enter in the fray in a different way. You can see how this is starting to heat up. And while this isn't going to replace traditional consoles anytime soon, I think the best way forward is what Geforce Now and xCloud are doing. Is they're offering that way that if your internet is out, if you're wanting just to play the game locally, like you normally have been doing, you have that option. I have all of these games. These are my games that I already own. So my upfront cost today was $0. My upfront cost for the next 90 days is $0 because that is essentially what they are offering. They want to get as many people trying this out as possible, and it's really impressive. I've been talking to a couple people who've been using the beta, and it's been interesting and fun to see kind of their solution and their experience, and that's why I was like, yeah, absolutely. Now, let's talk about the accessibility of Geforce Now, because obviously games goes to Geforce Now. Accessibility easily goes to Stadia. Now, where Stadia is set up, it's actually set up to sell you the games. Geforce Now is selling you processing and a server with a high-end graphics card and more. So you're going to be able to play these games at the top tier, and that's really what the whole setup is for both of them. But where Stadia is that it's a storefront. So you need to go pay for Stadia and go buy the games and then play the games. Or with GeForce, you can sign up, and if you already have the games, you're good to go. This might make you go spend some money on some additional games if the service works for you, so just be forewarned. And obviously, not all the games are available today, but there's a handy little feedback feature in which that I've continued to request more and more games be added into the service. And so I'm looking forward to hopefully sharing more of that information with you as time goes forward. So I think when it comes down to the accessibility, like I said, Stadia still takes it. It's a cleaner interface. It has more accessibility in terms of the browser, but it's still nowhere near. Like, this is going to be neck and neck. Stadia just happens to eke out the accessibility. And if you're going around and playing with the app, you'll probably see what I mean by that when you're kind of clicking around and looking for games. Hopefully they update their main page and add more discoverability for, like, maybe even connecting into the systems I own, like Steam, and then showing me the list of games that are supported. It was a little bit confusing and a little bit jarring. I have since figured it out, but Stadia clearly takes the win. Now, from a quality tie, like I'm playing in the cloud, it works great. That's my experience, hands down. Not everybody's going to have the same experience. I'm going to see if I can't get Chris to come try this out and give me kind of more feedback as to his experience with it, namely because this runs on PC and Mac and Android and Nvidia Shield. So for a Mac player, somebody who's been wanting to play PC games, this might be a really good viable option for you to not have to sit here and say, well, there's not a Mac version. Well, now with cloud gaming, there will be that as an option for everybody, and I think that's a big win for the industry as a whole. But again, in playing the games, there's no discernible difference. I'm not able to sit here and tell about anything from input lag on either. I have none. It works great like if it was running locally, and so forward. I just have a good time with it. So on a quality of the stream perspective, it is a tie. When it all comes down to price, Geforce Now takes the cake. They take the cake in games, they take the game in price, and the fact that quality is a tie, especially with Stadia, honestly, your best bet right now, if you're looking at trying this out, is jumping into Geforce Now. I'll include a link into the description of this video if you want to go do so, especially because they have that free tier. Like I said, it's limited, it's going to give you an hour playtime, but I think that's enough to say if this is a service that is ready for you and your network at this time. Geforce Now clearly shows a couple of things to me. A, competition's great. Because if nothing else, you can look at this and say, well, dadgum, Google, what the heck? Let's go. Like, if you really want to be a part of this, like, come on. So hopefully this helps light another fire under the butts behind the engineers over at Google, as well as the marketers and the whole leadership team. Now, the next question is what about xCloud? xCloud for me is also an exciting prospect, but right now xCloud is only running on Android phones, and we're still waiting to be able to get access to the beta. But from everything I hear, they already have more games than Stadia and more. And so there's a lot of games I already own within the Xbox ecosystem. So I'm looking forward to seeing if that comes into the browser aspect. Now, at the end of the day, all in, gamers are concerned about ownership, and they are rightfully concerned so. When it comes down to these services where your games kind of live in this theoretical cloud, you can't really take your game and go. And that's where I think Geforce Now, from a business perspective, from a gamer perspective, well, if we're not happy with the service, we still have our games. You have them in Origin, you have them in Steam. Now, ideally, we'll see some form of unification of that platform, and I would be surprised if they don't have those same kind of plans. Right now, Geforce isn't trying to sell you a game. Right now, they're just selling you a service. And the thing is that we see as we go with crossplay and more things developed, when people are frustrated at the Epic Store, for example, ideally, games are games are games, and you as a gamer should have choice in your purchasing decisions, in your subscription decisions, and more. And maybe Geforce Now is going to be that platform that kind of unifies the whole experience for more players. Your Steam friends, your Epic Game Store friends, and more, into where all of this petty exclusive hunting, just to try to get more people into your ecosystem, ends up kind of fading away. Now, we'll have to wait and see how this changes overall. Like, if you look at Discord when it relates to just how communities come together around games, even Xbox has decided saying, yeah, Discord's doing it better than we are. We're going to somewhat integrate with them. And hopefully we see more and more integrations into these services that are gamer first. So I'm going to leave you with that. Right now, like, seriously, check out Geforce Now. Link will be in the description below if you've got the internet for it. I think it's going to be a nice additive thing. Obviously, not all the games are there right now. I'm going to keep playing around and testing this out, but this is a huge relief on my hard drive space, and the more games that I can get off of my local hard drive and into the cloud means that I can play them in more places, and I can have more hard drive space to capture footage and make videos. Anyway, let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. Very curious as to your thoughts. Have you played Stadia? Have you played with Geforce Now? And if your internet's horrible, I'm rooting for you. We definitely need to fix that problem in this country as well as this world. But I think that's also a function of time. And I think this is a nice bridge into the future, as opposed to kind of a hard stopping point that kind of Google has done. And, you know, all in all, like, I enjoy the service. I like cloud gaming. When I think about it, at the core of it, though, like, it would have been much better. Like, they made a statement with an unfinished product, and it would have been so much easier if they said, okay, and we're ready, and this is why. So we'll have to see what they do this year, and we'll keep you up to date on cloud gaming, Geforce Now, xCloud, and more here on the channel, especially as we can get, hopefully, access to Final Fantasy XIV and more of the MMOs that we love to play. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. This has been Ryan for Work the Game, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.